I'm starting up my PC Windows 7 because I saved the state. It's switching over now from the safe mode. Remember, we put it on a safe state before. Is that not correct? Huh? Okay, it's coming up now. Just wait. You can see here it says it's restoring, huh? So just give it a while. It's gonna.
It's at fake also. I have to put it.
Okay, it's almost done.
It worked before.
Okay, it's restoring now, and that is my virtual machine coming up. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to allow this to finish loading. So that's my virtual machine. It's loading now. Now, when this is finished loading, the next step it will ask us is to enter our username and a password. Is that not correct? So I'm just going to wait for it to finish loading. So now it's expanding the Windows files. Remember, the first thing was to do what? Copy the files. The next thing it's doing now is expanding the files now in your hard drive. Remember, the files have been copied into your computer, right? So that is now expanding them. It's like extracting. You guys know what extracting is, right? Then the next thing now is now activating the features like desktop. Remember, we're running Windows Ultimate. Is that not correct? So if we're running Windows Professional or Windows Home Premium or Home Basic, now installing the features, not all those features you find on Ultimate will be installed on Home Basic. Are we together? So this last step is actually just activating. Are you getting me? Like it's like a checkbox. You're just checking what's it's allowed on Ultimate. Are we together? Then after completing installation, that will not be when you're installing. The next step is installing your updates. That is if you're connected to the internet. Now, most people who have very fast or good internet want to actually update while they're doing the installation, so that their computer is actually safe to the recent updated files when they get to the desktop. Then lastly, it's completing the installation. Can you guys see from there? Yeah? It's not faint, are you sure? Hmm? Yeah, I'm trying to I'm trying to use the remote to control it because I need to go to the menu to I need to go to the menu to I need to go to the menu to because I need to turn this a little bit. It's too bright. So that's why I'm not seeing it. I don't know why this thing doesn't work. And we don't have a menu here. That's the problem. I only just have this. This. I don't have any other menu button. Oh, maybe it's supposed to be here. Because I see something. Hmm? Because I see this thing there, right? Hmm? Try to press it. Try to press. Pressing it, pressing it. Please, one class. Hmm? But how do you open the battery? Is it from here you open the battery? Try to open it. Let's see. Okay, guys, it's almost done. The features have been installed. The next step now is to install updates. Remember that my computer is actually using a bridge adapter. You guys remember that, right? Now, you know that with bridge adapter, it allows your virtual machine to be able to share the same internet as your local computer. Is that not correct? Is that not correct? Allows you to share. But you see, there's some features that may not work on our computer. So what I'm going to do, when I get to my desktop, I'm going to show you something which I want all of you to do as well. We call it the virtual machine additions. Are we together? We call it the virtual machine additions. So I'm going to make a full screen now. So we need to replace that battery. So I'm going to click on view. I'm going to switch to full screen. And I'm going to click on switch to full screen. Okay, let's just wait for it. It's coming up now. Okay. That's my full screen, huh? So I think this is a good projector, huh?
It's large
Hmm?
image is much larger.
Yeah, I think this is a good. I think I'll just stick to this one. But bringing it every day, it's a problem. Okay, guys, I'm completing my installation. I believe everybody went through the process I'm going through right now.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so that you don't complain on Friday and says, my computer skipped the first one, it didn't go through the last one. So when we're done with this, you will notice that after we've done our configuration, my network adapter on my local computer will still have the same network configuration of my host computer. Meaning whatever computer that is giving my host computer an IP address, be it a wireless router or Frix box, will also give me IP address on my virtual machine as well. That is only when you use what? A bridge adapter. If you're using a NAT is different. A NAT will be that your virtual machine will use its own local adapter, but the gateway will come from your host network. Are you getting me? So your host network will be acting as the router. That is where NAT comes. That's how I call it, network address translation. Okay, in the meantime, while my computer is loading up, let me bring up my mouse here. Just waiting for my mouse to appear. Now let me go to the bottom here. If you come to device, go to device on your menu. Go to device on your menu. Of course, Windows setup is running for the first time. All of you know the secret to this, right? Huh? I believe all of you know the secret to this. Sys prep, is that not correct? Okay. Can you click on device? Now, if you notice on the drop down list on device, did you see where it says insert guest additions CD image? Now, what is guest addition? Guest addition allows you to be able to collaborate between your virtual machine and your host operating system. Are we together? You know, sometimes you want to move content, you want to move your mouse, you know, while you're on your desktop, you want to also take the mouse and be on your virtual machine at the same time. Are you getting me? You want to redirect your hard drive, like the hard drive of your host computer, you want to move it to the virtual machine. Are you getting me? That's what I mean by guest addition. You want to do remote desktop as well. You want to remotely connect. Now, when we talk about guest additions, these additions actually just enhances the performance between the virtual machine and what? The hosts. Are you getting me? Now, remember, the virtual machine, is he a guest? This virtual machine, is he a guest? It's a guest, right? Because you already have an operating system before, right? You actually installed VirtualBox and you install another Windows 7 on top of your computer. Actually, the Windows 7 you're installing on the virtual machine is a guest. So the guest addition is an enhancement. You'll see when we do the installation. So what I need you to do on the devices, screw down to insert guest addition CD image. Click on it. That's all. Just click on it and it will take its time. It will be attached to your computer. No, go to the menu. Go to the menu device. Look for devices. Let me see.
When you play with the full screen.
Maximize it to the full screen. Maximize it to the full screen. Maximize it to the full screen. What's the short key again? Okay. Follow the key. Right Control and F. Then it makes full screen. Then you see the menu bar to come up. Do you have that now?
Yes.
Okay. That's it then. Huh? Okay, guys, let's set up our computer. So the name of my computer, it says type a username. So I'm going to type, my name should be Sam. My name should be Sam T. Let me use DJ. Then my PC name. You see where you see automatically your username takes also the PC name as well. So I want to make my PC called MCTTC-PC. Are we together? My username is Sam DJ, and that is the name of my computer. Remember I told you with XP you had name, which you had to write your full name, and you also had to write your what? Organizational name, meaning your company name. Then when you went through the installation, you also got to a point, it said, what is your computer name? Is that not correct? Huh? Okay. But you saw that there's a slight difference between XP and Windows 7. Okay, so let's click on next. Now, best practice always require you to enter your password. So I'll just use Monday as my password. Now, password hints, of course, you all know what this hint means. Does not mean you should write the same password there.
It's a hint.
It's a hint. Meaning if you're writing, let's say the password is actually your nickname.
Like if it's Monday, you can maybe writing the day of the week.
Yeah, the first working day of the week, the first business day of the week. You already know it's Monday. The risky thing about that is that anybody who sees your computer and click on the hint automatically know exactly what he needs to enter. So you need to put a hint that only you understand. That's where Van Veck comes in now with the complexity. Are we together? Now, Van Veck is now right when he says you need to put something that you what? Only you know. So you actually mean the first day of the week. So you write something that means a first day of the week to you. The first business day of the week, not because that's not the first day of the week. Are you getting me? Okay, so we'll just put first business first business day of the week. Okay, we'll click next. Of course, the same problem again. We have to enter what? A product key. Now, but because we don't have a product key or we've not bought one yet, we're just actually using this virtual machine to test whether Windows 7 will support our environment. Because remember, virtual machine, the idea of running virtualization is number one, for testing. In fact, most people actually use it to test programs before they bring it into what? Production environment. So we're just going to click on next. You guys still remember the settings for XP, but you notice XP only had two, which was recommended settings and ask me later. But with Windows 7 you have three, meaning okay, it's fine, you don't want us to automatically install and download the update, but can we at least just install only the important updates, meaning the updates that are only important to what? Windows 7, meaning Microsoft. While the rest which are not that important, you have to select it yourself. The next one says ask me later. Those of you who have cracked copies, you always want to ask me later, because if you put this when you're connected to the internet, it will automatically download and do what? Update. Best practice, it is required to use what? Recommended settings. But then if you're working with a server environment whereby your server does the updates on your behalf, are you getting me? It is also fine to use recommended settings, because when the computer wants to update, it will first talk to your server. Now, since your server has downloaded the update, it will push the updates to all the clients. So you're actually updating locally. So it becomes much faster than consuming your bandwidth. So best practice, we'll say ask me recommended settings. Of course, the same time, I'm using my US time. I believe yours gave you your Windhoek time. So I'm going to click next. Do you guys remember the network location? Now, what type of network do you think I'm using? Some of you will put me on work network. Is that not correct? Because we're actually in a working place, right? Now, if I was at home, I would say what? Which is your fixed box. If you're on the cyber cafe or you're on the Mong and Bing or you are in Paranotis, what will you take? Public. Because it's a what? A public network. You said what? Yeah, even Kapana, they can have a Wi-Fi there. Wi-Fi is everywhere nowadays, right? Yes. If I'm at Kapana and I put on my wire, I can put up a Wi-Fi there as well. And people can buy vouchers and make it nice. You see, that's one of the things you need to know about business. But that's not the topic we're talking now. Okay, set up your local, your current network. Now, you all know the reason why we're doing this, all right? Is that correct? Yes. If you notice home, it says if all the computers on this network are at where? At your home. And you recognize them. Number two, if all the computers on this network are at your what? Workplace. And you do what? Recognize them. This, I do not recognize all the computers on this network. So what do I take? Public. Are we together? But this can always be changed, eh? I'm sure you have to do that. So I'll take work. So Windows is finalizing my settings. And the next thing I'm going to see is what? My desktop. So it's going to welcome me into my desktop, preparing my. You see what? You know what's going on here? Preparing your desktop, meaning what? It's doing your configuration, right? You getting me? If your tax bar, your menu bar, your recycle bin, everything is putting on. That is why every time you create a new user, it has to prepare what? A desktop for them. Are we together? Guys, that is my desktop. Do you see that I have internet as well? Do I have internet?
Yes.
Now, that is because if you check my local computer, I also have internet as well. And that is why I have internet also here. If I go to my browser now, you will see it's going to take me to the homepage of Microsoft.com. Now, that is because I'm using what? Bridge adapter. Exactly. I'm browsing on my virtualization. Just like I'm still browsing on my local computer. Those of you also have a wireless network at home with your fixed box. It's the same thing. The same IP address assigned to my computer is the same IP address that will also be assigned. Of course, the IP address changes, but the configuration will remain the same. The DNS, the gateway, and all of that.
So I can run a ping now between these two.
Yeah, you can ping both of them because they are on the same network. The virtual machine and your host computer are actually on the same network.
After I ping them, can I share files now?
You can share files between them. Exactly, yeah. We'll get to that point. Yes.
For instance, if I'm at home, I'm using my Flexi box.
Mm-hmm.
The IP address that it's providing, is it the same?
IP address on the virtual machine. Yes.
You know what I want to ask you, is it the same IP address that I will be using if I come here and I connect with it?
No, of course. That's a different network. When you come to RIT, you're connected to a different network. Yeah. Yes?
Run like operating systems.
Exactly. Depending on the hardware. Depending on whether it's to support the hardware. You see, when it comes to Mac is always selective in terms of hardware compatibility. So it might be possible. I'm not saying it's not possible. It might be possible. But I'm not giving you the setting 100%. Yeah, because I've not tried it before, so I'm not giving you that 100%. But I know it will work. Because you can virtualize Ubuntu, Linux, Feroda, different operating systems can actually run on virtual environment. Because the virtual environment virtualizes the hardware that is compatible with the software. Yes. Yes. I can install VirtualBox right now on this desktop. They run a virtual machine, but why do I want to do that? Okay, guys, let's start with the first one. The first one says, the first task we're going to do in our lab now says verifying the memory. Verifying the memory of your computer. Can we click on the start menu? We'll click on the start menu. You will go to where? Computer. So if you're asked to verify the memory of your computer, you right click on computer and click on what? Properties. Did you see where it says installed memory?
Yes.
RAM. So that is 1 gig because it was actually 1 gig we configured. Is that not correct?
Yes.
If it was 2 gig, it will be 2 gig we install. Okay, the next task we're going to be doing is to install the device drivers using Windows operating system. So that's the next task we're going to be doing now. We're going to try to install a driver of maybe another device. So let's go to, how do you install a driver? When we say install a driver on a computer, what do we mean by that? How do you install a driver? It's simple. We go to the start menu. You see computer here? Yes, you see computer? Yes. You right click on computer. Now did you see the word that says manage? Yes. Can you click on that? Now manage takes you to what we call the computer management console. It's a console. Are you getting me? It's like a control panel where you have all your switch boxes and things like that. Where you switch off things, you configure things. Now one of the things that we have here is called device manager. Are we together? Device manager. So I'm going to click on device manager. Whenever you click on device manager does something. It gives you everything that is connected on your what? On your computer system. It shows you all the device from your mouse to your keyboard. So most of the time, some of you may notice that some of the devices are not working on your computer, like the USB connector, the keyboard, or whatever device you're connected on, especially your graphics card. Those of you who buy some external card, you notice they're not working. Now, if they're not working, there's one place to find out. It's your device manager. Now, for example, if I had a problem with my DVD or my keyboard, why is my keyboard not typing properly? I can come in here and I go to where I see keyboards and I can expand it. Now, when I expand it, whenever I see this icon, do you see this yellow icon? Whenever you see this yellow icon means that the drivers are what? Missing. Meaning, Windows does not have the drivers for the device. Are we together? Some of the times, it might tell you the type of device. Most of the times, it might not tell you the type of the device. Are we together? So, if for example, this was actually the wrong driver that was here, showing a yellow sign, what were you supposed to do? All you needed to do was to right-click and you say, update driver. When you click update driver, a wizard will come up like this. There are two options that you have to update a driver. You have search automatically, meaning Microsoft will try to check on the system. Are you getting me? If you can't find it on the system, it will check what? Online, by connecting to the internet. The second one means that you have the CD. Are you getting me? The second one means I have the CD. This particular device came with a CD, meaning the drivers are inside. So what I would do, I would click on browse for the driver software. When you click browse, it will now bring you to the browse icon. Are you getting me? Then I can come here and say browse, meaning it will take me to my Windows Explorer. It's simple. The second option, I click on back. We had these two options.
Because I have another one, if you just right click, it also says update driver software.
Yes, then it brings it to this wizard. Then you have these two options. Then you click the second one, browse. Then it brings you to this option where it says browse. So I can just go and click on CD or the drive later of my CD or my DVD. I click on it and that appears here. Let's say, for example, if I browse now, I can go to my computer, scroll to your computer, and you have drive E here. Is that not correct? So if I had a CD there, I can click on that drive E. When I click on it, I can now come and click OK. Then I click next. It will automatically start what? Scanning the CD. Then pick up the driver and install the device. Are we together?
Yeah.
But what about, it's a generic driver that we are actually looking for, because Microsoft do have generic drivers. So if you notice underneath where it says browse, you see here it says let me pick from the list of drivers on my computer, meaning I don't want to actually scan the DVD. I actually have drivers somewhere. So there was a driver downloaded from the internet. It's on my desktop. Since on this option you need to have a folder for the drivers to be scanned, but I don't have a folder. I actually have the single file itself, which is a driver file. So I will come in here and says let me pick. I will click on this, then it will bring me to where? to select the driver. So in this option, actually Microsoft gives you an option to say, show me compatible what? Hardware. So currently, the driver that we're using is the only driver compatible. But there are other drivers on the keyboard. If I uncheck this, if I catch you talking again, I will send you out. I just want to see somebody talking because I'm the only person talking. Don't listen right now. I'm going to give you a task on Friday to do a lab, and I will ask you to install 5, 6, 7 different drivers of different type of hardware. Don't do it. I'll give you a 0. I won't pity you. I remember when I marked some of your papers, some of you made some silly mistakes. I gave you some points on it because almost all of you should have gotten 0 in your practical. Don't listen. I will ask you to install the mouse drivers, the keyboard drivers of different hardware. They don't do them. When I get to your computer, I just cross it. I won't even pity you this time. I won't give you those tip or circle. I just give you 0. One mistake is a 0. I'm talking and you're talking. You have an advantage. When I'm done with this, I'm going to also upload it. This video is going to be a very long video. Because I'm looking at it by gig here. Now, you notice here, it says, it's checked. It says show compatible what? Hardware. Meaning, this particular driver you see here is the only drivers that the computer thinks and feel that is compatible with the current keyboard you have right now. So if I uncheck this, you will actually see that there are more than 2 or 3 keyboards that are there. Drivers, is that not correct? But if I check this back, it's only showing me only one. Meaning this is the only one that is what? Compatible. So what I'm going to do, if I uncheck this now, it's going to show me 3 other what? Drivers. Now when you click on this, this says it's a keyboard driver. If you click on this, it's also telling you there's a keyboard driver as well. If you click on this, it's also telling you there's a keyboard driver as well. There's a tendency that this might work. There's a tendency that this might work, but might not give you the full functionality. So yeah, but it might work. It will only allow you to do some of the standard configuration of standard operation. But if you want to use the entire operation, you will need to have the compatible what? Drivers. So most of the times, if your computer updates, we can actually redo it. Let's say, for example, you did a Windows update and one of the drivers was updated. Let's say we did a Windows update and this driver was updated. So let's say, for example, I decided to use this driver. So I'll click on standard PS2 and I'll click on next and I'll say yes. You can see there was a warning. I'll say close. Now it says you need to restart your computer for the changes to take place. Is that correct? Now if you come back to your keyboard now, it has changed. Did you see it there?
Yep.
It has changed. Now I mean, not probably, my keyboard may not be probably working anymore, or some of the keys may not be working anymore. So it was a mistake, or this update was not done by me. It was done by what? The Windows update. So what do? I can come back to the keyboard, right click, and I'll go to property. Then I'll click on drivers. Did you see the word here, rollback? Yeah? Now if I click on rollback, it will take it to the default driver it was before the update was done. So if I click rollback now, are you sure? Yes. And it will roll back. If I click close, it says restart again for everything to be changed. Yep. Am I back to PS2?
Yes.
As good as that. But remember, I did it manually. I'm talking on the other sense. Most of the times, when you do Windows updates, it updates the driver to a newer version. Whenever you go to the properties and you only see that the rollback is grayed out, it means you're still using the current drivers. When that is enabled or is highlighted, you notice that drivers have been updated within a period of time. Yes.
So if I change my device now for my driver and I go to the rollback, because I have changed it, will the rollback be available? Yes. I believe it will be available.
It will be available.
After I restart my computer with the setting,
it will be available.
Will the rollback still
it will be available. I only decided not to restart. Yeah, it will be available. Just so that we don't actually waste much time. So that it's my decision not to restart, huh? Yeah, but that's not best practice, okay? That's not best practice. Okay, so that's what I was trying to explain to you guys. What else I wanted to explain? Now, that is for updating your drivers. Are we together? Changing your drivers, updating them. But there's something else I want to show you. What about, I just want to add a generic device. There's a device I want to add on my computer, a printer. I want to install a printer on my system. How do I go about installing the printer? It's simple. Windows actually gave us a different way in Windows XP, Windows 7 to actually install devices. So we've talked about verifying the drivers, updating the drivers. So what I want to talk about now is adding your devices, installing device drivers. We've talked about that. Then apart from installing device drivers, you can also download them from the internet. Are you getting me? Extract it. Most of the time they come in zip folders. You can extract them. Are you getting me? Then it becomes a folder. Now remember, when you're browsing, it always asks you, remember we have two options, automatic and what? Manual. The manual options, you select that, you browse, you click on the folder, you click OK, it will scan automatically and it will what? Install the driver. Now the other step is, let's say for example I want to add a printer, I want to add a device. I've been asked to install the printer on my computer. So what do? I'll click on the start menu. I'll go to where? Who knows? I go to devices and what? You see, I always ask you guys, always read the content on your computer system. It's very important. I gave you a task, install a device called HP LaserJet 22678. I'm asking you to install a printer or a device. So what I would do, I'll come to device and printers, I'll click on device and printers. It brings me up to the icon. Some of you are not doing what I'm doing, but it's fine. Now, most of you, if you check your computer, Microsoft actually has a kind of a new feature. They call it staging device, whereby Microsoft is able to synchronize with your manufacturer and bring up the icon of your exact device on your computer system. And they appear here as well. Are we together? This is only showing this time because it can't detect what kind of computer is it. But it's fine. So let's say, for example, I ask you to install a device. So what I would do, I'll come here and click on Add Printer, if it's a printer, and Add Device, if it's a what? Device. But most of the case, people probably come here to install a printer. So I'll click on Add a Printer. Now, it's asking us a question again. Are you adding a local printer? Meaning it's attached with a cable, either by USB or by what? Or by serial or parallel connection. We don't use serials, huh? We use parallel. Or is it a network printer, meaning it's somewhere in the network? Is it a Bluetooth? Or is it a what? A wireless? So in this case, I actually have a local printer. I'll click on local printer. You guys see the first port I see there. Who can remember that port? And what kind of connection is that? A parallel, right? But I'm not using a parallel. I'm actually using a what? A USB. But I don't have a USB here, right? Because by default, you don't have a generic USB. You have to create it. You have to define that this is the kind of connections I'm using. So I will come here and says what? Create a what? A new port. So I will come to the drop down list. It will ask me, is it a local port or what? Standard TCP means is a network. But actually it's a local port. So I will click local port. Then I'll click next. Then it will ask me what is the name of the port. And I'll say USB. I'll click OK. Immediately it brings me to now install the what? The drivers of the printer. Are we together? I'll cancel. I'll go back again and add devices. And I'll say local printer. I'll say it's an LPT port. I'll click next. Then now you see there's a whole lot of companies that does printer here. You have Brother, you have Canon, Epson, Fuji, Generic, HP, Infotech. The list goes on. Can you see all the printers? Now, these are the drivers that was shipped with Microsoft what? Operating what? System. They are not there by they are there by default because Microsoft added them when they were deploying their operating system. There may be some that are not here, which were later on introduced when Microsoft deployed Windows 7. Are we together? Yeah. They are not generic drivers. These drivers, they came directly from the manufacturers. You can see the Samsung. Are you getting me? Remember I told you how these drivers came here. They submitted it online to Microsoft. So let's say, for example, you were asked to install a Sharp AR317S SPDL2. So what I would do, I will look for Sharp, and I will select the drivers, and I will click next. Let's say, for example, the drivers is not actually here, but it's a Sharp printer. So I will come here and say Windows what? So it will go to the Windows update and look whether this driver is actually on Windows and pull that drivers down. Yes. Or just a minute. That's of course the Windows update. Or it's telling me that okay, Windows do not have the update, but I have the CD. Are you getting me? I have the CD. The CD was shipped with the drivers, so I can put the CD through my computer on my CD-ROM, and I can come and say what have what disk. So this is to use online. This is to use offline, because I can't find the drivers here, but I have the CD, or I have the folder somewhere that I downloaded from the internet. Then I can say have disk. Then as you see there, it's asking to browse. I will browse. Go to the folder. If the folder is this, I will open it. I will look for that particular file. When I see the file, I click OK because the drivers is a file. I click on the file, click open. The file will appear here immediately. Let's look for a file. Let's look for a driver. Let me go to Google. Let's look for a driver to demonstrate this example. Let's look for a driver. HP. Let's just look for a driver. The driver itself. Yeah, let me just. That's a file. That's a driver file. So let's just go to HP. We're just going to download just the driver itself, not the entire software program, because the drivers are quite light. So we're going to check the half disk, and we're going to also run it down. Just waiting for the internet to load up. Okay. So let's click on drivers. And let's go down. And we're looking for, you see, automatically detects your computer. It's a Windows 7 32-bit. Is that not correct? So if it was a different computer, you have to probably come and change them here. Can you see? Those are things you also need to know when you're downloading drivers. Don't just download any drivers you see on the internet. Okay, it says we need a flash player. Okay. It's quite slow.
It's faster than first one. It's faster than first one.
No, it's quite slow. But let me look for other options as well while we're waiting for Flash to install. Let me look for other options. Okay, we're just going to install the drivers. Just wait for it to install. Okay, let me stop here, and I want to pause the video because it might be too long. It might be too long.